What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Sitting across from me this week and every week, Sushi Kamikaze Fujiyama Nipponichi. It's Desra.
And sitting across from me is Brian Paul.
And every week on Why We Love PlayStation VR, we dust the blow off an old PlayStation VR game, and we sit around, we discuss it, see if it's been patched, updated, given any love by the developers, and see if it's worth your time. That being said, what game did we decide to play this week, Desra?
Well, we just barely missed the one-year anniversary of this game. This is 2018's Knockout League.
Knockout League by Grab Games, released February 23rd, 2018 for $29.99.
Yahoo!
Yahoo!
So it's a boxing game.
What kind of game is this, Desra?
It's a boxing game.
But is it a boxing game?
It's a boxing game.
Are you sure it's like Creed Rise to Glory is a boxing game?
Yes.
Is this the same kind of boxing game as Creed Rise to Glory?
No, it's not the same kind of boxing game, but it's still a boxing game.
Okay.
Yeah, just like, Moss is a third-person platformer, but it's not the same kind of third-person platformer as, say, Super Mario 64.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it a step further.
Yeah.
And I think everybody knows where I'm about to take this. This is basically the VR version of the NES Classic or SNES Classic.
Yep.
Don't say SNES. That's ridiculous. Punch Out.
Yeah, I think some legislation was passed that no review can talk about this game without mentioning Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
Yeah, no, and we are following that legislation to the T.
Yeah, no, this, and I kind of like that about this. This brings us back to a day when a game could just be fun.
Yeah,
it didn't have to be super realistic and edgy, and it was just like, this is a boxing game, and it's goofy and fun, and it's really, really hard, but.
It is really, really hard. This screams arcade game. Like if there are VR arcades, but there's not any VR arcades near us.
Yeah.
This and like Beat Saber, I feel like could go stand right next to each other.
Absolutely.
These are games you just put the thing on and you know what to do.
Yep. Yeah. This isn't trying to be super realistic or anything like that. It's pattern based. Basically, at the end of the day, you're trying to figure out the your other opponent's tells and react accordingly.
Yeah, just like Punch Out. I'm going to say that like 200 more times today.
But the biggest difference is, because it is VR and you are moving your whole body, it is a workout.
Yeah.
Man, this is, there have been games I've played for this channel that I've had to stop playing because I couldn't take it anymore because they were so badly made.
Oh, yeah.
Because I cannot do this anymore. And I was literally like, after probably an hour and a half today, I was just like, I can't throw these punches anymore. I really was just like, I'm in the mindset of like, I'm in the mindset of a boxer right now. I just have to keep fighting through the pain.
I love that you said after an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I fought the first character. I don't have any of their names, but I fought the first character.
Tri-tip.
Tri-tip.
Mm-hmm.
What a horrible name. And
he's a butcher and as well as a boxer.
Is he a baker and a candlestick maker as well?
No, just a butcher.
That would be way funnier.
He worked his way through college, working at meat stores and practicing.
I think we need to talk about the stories in a second.
Yeah.
But just before we get into that, I fought him. Now he is the Glass Joe. See, I'm just gonna keep doing this. Yeah. He's the Glass Joe of the game. He's pretty easy. Even if you screw up, you can still beat him. Like there's pretty much you're not gonna lose to this guy. And after I won, I was like, I need a break.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I took the headset off. I was just like, why am I so out of breath? And it's because I'm out of shape. But like. Because I play video games like 24/7.
But it's not just that. See, here's the thing. Like, because I again, like you were, just we played it at launch. I'm like, yeah, this is fun. I haven't really revisited it since then.
Yeah.
And I remember, even before I fired it up, I was like, well, yeah, Creed's like the boxing game, and this was just like the goofy arcadey one. And I swear, I am more wiped out playing this than I am during Creed.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is, in this game, since it is, timing and dodge based, your hitboxes are so big.
That's true.
When you dodge, you have to dodge. You have to, if you're, going like crouching down, you've got to get like almost on the floor. If you're moving to the left, you've got to get all the way over to the left. So you can't just kind of sit there and, in Creed, you can just dodge out of the way of the punch, because your hitbox is pretty much just your head and kind of small. And, on the other hand, like especially with the more difficult characters, once you've opened up a chance to hit them, You just have to get in there and do as much damage as you can, as quickly as you can, because you don't have many opportunities to do that.
Yeah. No, it is ridiculously tiring very, very quickly. And
This right here is causing me agony right now.
the lifting of the water bottle. And I mean, there are people out there nonstop. I see it all the time on Facebook and on Reddit and stuff. And people like, being like, if you think that you're getting a workout playing VR games, then you don't know what a workout is. That kind of thing. I was like, no, this is way more cardio than I've gotten in like weeks combined.
I had a very similar moment with this game that I have with another game that's kind of notorious with us, Headmaster. The first time you play this game, I mean, you're going to work hard no matter what.
Yeah.
But the first time you play this game, you work so much harder than you have to, because if you're like me, you only half listened to your trainer. Doug?
Doug.
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 It's like, oh yeah, I know how to dodge, I know how to punch, fine. But no, you need to dodge and punch the way the game is telling you to dodge and punch.
Yeah.
To get the most success. So again, if you're just doing that little back and forth, like they tell you during the tutorial, no, you need to move this far. And the same thing with how you punch. Like if you think, oh, I'm just going to do a little uppercut, it's like, no, you need to do it the way the game showed you for it to work.
Yeah. It is very much dependent on the intensity of your punch, which I did find out. You're about to talk about speed bag, but it's not just, hey, hit this thing for as long and as hard as you can. It is there's a meter on the left, and it's telling you, go at this pace,
right?
Hit it at this level, and then it says, all right, now up your game, and then you just have to start hitting it faster and harder. And man, there's a lot of precision here.
Yes.
I'm not good at it. Like it's what's our instructor's name?
Doug Jones.
Doug,
no,
right.
Doug Jacobs. Doug.
I'm okay with Doug. I just forgot already, and we just had it 3 seconds ago. He basically keeps telling you, and I'm like yelling at Doug. I'm like, Doug, I'm doing the best I can, man. Leave me alone. But it's fine. I'm not good at speed bag. I'm coming to terms with the fact that I'm not good at speed bag, and I have to move on to my favorite mini game.
Okay.
I'm calling them mini games. They're training modes, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Reflex Alley.
Yeah, Reflex Alley is, well, yeah, you mentioned Beat Saber. I mean, that's our
Hey, good point.
that's our equivalent. Yeah, so basically
It's red and blue stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're an alley behind, actually, and a good year before Beat Saber came out. But no, that's basically where the analogy ends. You're in an alleyway behind the gym, and basically you have this stuff launching at you. If a red thing launches at you, you could hit it with the right. Blue, hit it with the left. If a medicine ball comes at you, you've got to block it. And if a barbell comes at you, you've got to dodge it.
Yeah, it's probably also good life advice.
Yeah, pretty much, yes. Or dumbbell. Yeah, if someone throws a dumbbell at you, you should dodge that. Yeah. And then
if anyone throws anything at you, just dodge all the time. I don't think you should be punching things that people are throwing at you.
But here's the thing: like, you think we mentioned Beat Saber, and stuff in Beat Saber is coming at a nice pace. They're coming fast.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, especially at the higher levels, and not only fast, like there'll be multiples, so you have like 3 red things all in a row, and you have to like not just punching at one, you've got to punch in the right arc to get all 3 at a time.
Yeah, and so when you do that, and then suddenly you realize that as your fist is like blocking your vision, there's like something coming at you from over here. You're like, oh, I'm totally screwed yet again. I'm pretty good on easy, and that's actually worth pointing out. Yeah. All of these training modes, like really, this whole training mode could have been a game within itself, because every single one of the training modes has an easy, medium, and hard play, right? And you can use it. So you pick the quick play, easy, medium, and hard, and then on top of that, each one has a stamina mode. On top of that, each one has a timed mode. Right, and then there's just free play if you just want to practice at your at your own leisure. And so like and that's one of the things that got patched in later. If you played this at launch, like I think there weren't so many modes, and then
right, you had the base training ideas there, but yeah, they added different modes. They added the calorie counter.
Oh, was the calorie counter added in later?
I think the calorie counter was there for just the boxing, but then they added the other ones as well.
The worst part is when you're like sweating and out of breath, and you look and you're like, I just burned 6 calories. Like, 6. That's like not a bite of anything.
Yeah. And it makes you really rethink that soda.
Yeah. So what else we got?
Focus mitt training.
Focus mitt's interesting because focus mitt, you have basically all the odd numbers that Doug calls out are your left hand. I think 1 is a straight punch.
Yep.
3 is a
hook.
And then 5 is a uppercut.
Right.
And then the alternating. There had to have been a better way to say this.
No, that's basically he basically
2,
calls out
4, and 6.
he gives you numbers for combos, and he's sitting there with the mitts.
Yeah.
He's doing what a boxing coach would do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's exactly that. He's just kind of he's calling out the combos you need to punch and throwing out the mitts so you cut, and you can hit all you want, but if you don't do the right combo, he'll say, nope, you messed it up, do it again. And I will say, just like, so here's the thing, in Creed, you get the training, and you do the training, and magically, like, your character's powers get better.
Yeah.
There is no direct game-like equivalent from the training in this game to the actual game, except that you do get better.
Yeah,
because
you
this
as a
is
person.
actual. Yeah, this is actual training. This is training your reaction time. This is training you doing the right punches and the right combo. Whereas the stuff in Creed is like, yes, it is challenging and tough to do those things, but they're not. At least I don't find them to be like one-to-one equivalents to like, oh, training to do this makes you a better fighter in Creed.
It is funny that Creed is more of the simulation, and this is more of the arcade game,
Right.
and they've totally taken the opposite approach to what you would consider for those style of games.
But I find the training in Knockout League is actually better training for actually punching. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. The training in Knockout League is more of a sim style, and the training in Creed is more of an arcade style.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yes, they flip flopped. maybe they had a deal or something.
And there's something I want. This is a comment I get a lot, especially in my life, in fencing and all that. People say, "Oh, well, that's not real sword fighting. This is real sword fighting, or whatever." And there's this whole stupid argument. There's going to be people who say, "Well, Knockout League isn't real boxing. Creed is real boxing." Neither of them are real boxing.
This is totally true.
Neither of them. I mean, I don't care how like the hitboxes work or how fast you have to move. Neither of them will give you the same equivalent of what it feels like when you get punched in the face.
This is true, or what it feels like to punch someone else in the face.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And
I think people need to remember. People need to remember that. And I talked about this a little bit in my Gun Club VR review. There's really two camps out there. There are people who play VR games because they want to take their gaming to the next immersive level.
Yeah.
And then there are people who play VR games because they want a virtual new reality. And they're like, this has to be as close to real life as possible.
Yeah.
And I think the people who are looking for the new reality, the new close to real life as possible, are going to be disappointed with a lot of things, because what video game makers are trained to make are video games.
Right.
They're not trained to make boxing simulators.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. This is absolutely a game, and it feels like it, and I'm happy that it is one.
And I think that's a nice segue into talking. We don't want to go too deep into the individual characters,
right.
But we want to talk about them because what this does, because it is your Mike Tyson Punch-Out, because it is an arcade game, they can have a lot more fun with the characters.
Yeah.
And I would say out of most of the games we've played for this channel, these are some of the most well realized and kind of crazy characters in a game. So let's see, where's my
before we get into the specific characters. If anyone out there owned a Dreamcast or a PlayStation 2 and played Ready to Rumble, I don't know if you guys remember Ready to Rumble. There was even a round 2 sequel. These characters are very, very similar. They're very exaggerated, cartoony characters. And as good as those characters looked on the PS2 and on Dreamcast, man, in VR, what amazing animation!
Yeah,
what amazing presence they have when you're in the ring. And I do have to say, without the ability to run around the ring, to move out of the way, and there's no motion at all other than your own dodging.
Right.
So you are face to face with these characters, and
none of that.
And it's kind of intimidating.
It is.
It's and they're big cartoon characters that are intimidating.
Right, and that's, I think you nailed it with the word presence. Yeah. We've played a lot of different games where they're just, some of them like Here They Lie and Summer Lesson of all things, where like the character there really feels like they're there.
I love that we bring up Summer Lesson.
I know,
so
it's just like it's a weird touch point.
It really is. It's the uncanny valley of PlayStation VR.
But there are some games where, you know, like Borderlands, when you have the characters right there, they don't feel solid. They don't really feel like they're really there.
Yeah.
And Knockout League, it just, whatever magic those other games does, it absolutely does that. Like, you know, Tri-Top was a little cartoony, but Barrage, the second, the woman,
mm-hmm.
and she's just like, oh, you're like, I could just reach out and touch you there, and it's just
don't touch her though. She doesn't like
no,
that. No, but it's funny because every time I was fighting her earlier before you came over,
mm-hmm.
and already sweating from head to toe, and every time you knock her down,
mm-hmm.
she gets up and kind of comes back with a little, hey, good one, you know, and
yeah.
like she doesn't care that she just got knocked down,
mm-hmm.
and it's like that little touch, that little flare of her like kind of shaking off the knockout or whatever it was, the knockdown, and coming right back. You're just like, man, like it makes her seem more ferocious. It makes her seem more scary
mm-hmm.
because she's not intimidated by the fact that she just got, you know, she just hit the mat.
And not only that, can I give them props for a female athlete in a game who's built like a female athlete?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, she's just, you know, she's stacked. She's an athlete. She's got some muscle on her. It's great. And so like your first 2 or 3, well, maybe your first 2 you face are like, okay, these are your typical boxing match, you know, they're kind of cartoony versions of that, but okay. And then you get to the third boxer in the first round, Volt, who's suddenly like, oh, now we know where this game is going.
Yeah.
He has robotic legs from the waist down, his backstory, which, by the way, you can skip all the cutscenes.
Yep.
And I know we've had problems before with cutscenes that drop into 2D or you know, in VR games. We're not a big fan of them. Don't skip these. These cutscenes are great.
They are. They are great, and I love the art style, and I love the comic book aesthetic and everything. Mm-hmm. Man, this again, we talked about this in Monster of the Deep and in Borderlands. This is yet another game that was made for VR that has 2D cutscenes.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, it's not as egregious. Like in Monster of the Deep and Borderlands, it feels very egregious, very kind of breaking things up. Yeah. For whatever reason, it didn't really bother me in this.
This is much better.
Yeah.
But I do want to say, like, this, you know, developers, we're keeping an eye on you. Because man, oh man, take advantage of the VR platform, right? You got gamers in VR, take advantage of the platform. Like it is very strange when you see a 2D cutscene. These are much better.
Yeah,
These don't feel flat at all.
Yeah. I just,
what they are.
I think they fit more into the aesthetic and what the game is trying to do. The game is a cartoony world. It's not trying to pretend it's a real world at all. You know, and I think they work really well.
They're really well done for what they are. Absolutely agree.
I instead of going through, like, they do, every character has its own preferred attack style, its own patterns. The voice acting is I think for the most part really, really well done.
Yeah.
And you know, as the characters get little more and more cartoony, their attacks become more and more non-real world. So, I mean, there's Sir Octopunch, who is fantastic. We're making a boxing game. Who should we have as enemy? An octopus.
Why not?
Brilliant. You know, so he can, of course, attack from anywhere, but also turn invisible. There's the magician who can make cards appear and attack you with the cards, and have a rabbit pop out of his hat and hit you. I mean, it's really creative. I don't know. We want to be on the line between like telling you everything about the game and letting you discover it yourself.
Yeah, we don't want to go too far. I mean, I don't know if you can spoil like an arcade boxing game. You know, I think really it's about discovering the patterns for yourself and figuring it out for yourself. But yeah, no, I mean the visual style is so cool. The last thing I want to do is just sit here and show all 9 boxers and be like, oh, here's what you can expect. You know. Oh,
and we haven't really talked about the actual blocking mechanics. So you hold your gloves up, they turn blue, but if you hold them up too long, they kind of was it pink?
Yeah, pink, purple, something like that.
Yeah, they change color, and so if they turn blue and you block, you're immediately able to return a punch. I think a counter. So they attack, boom, boom. If you hold it up too long, then they'll punch. They won't do any damage to you, but you won't be able to return in kind. Yeah. And then just about all of the characters, like they'll have their special move they do as they're doing it, you'll get a chance, like there'll be a little white ring will show up for a fraction of a second, and if you punch into that, you can break up their attack and do some significant damage.
Yeah, these are all things you need to learn. Right? It is so easy to skip the tutorial and just ignore everything that Doug says, and not listen to us right now and say, it's fine, I'll figure it out as I go. No, you got to learn these things. Otherwise, you are going to be like you were saying at the beginning of the show. It's like that headmaster moment where you're like you're working way too hard to achieve the results that you want, and then you come back to it and you're like, oh, this isn't as difficult. It's still a workout. But you do learn, and it all kind of clicks once you get all the mechanics down. Take advantage of the knowledge that this game gives you, and learn how to play it.
And I want to give a shout out. I wouldn't have been able to get nearly as far as I did in this game without a wonderful YouTuber, Catber7, CATBER7.
Hey, Catber7.
He or she, I think it's a he, has a amazing series of videos where it basically shows you step by step how to beat every character in the game.
I'm totally looking this up.
And not only that, like really well produced in that he shows you, okay, here's the character, here's them slow motion. They do this, then you do this, and then shows the exact same thing again in normal motion, so you can see how fast you have to do to execute it. So Capper, thank you so much for the amount of work you did. You deserve way more likes and subscribers. So just want to throw that out for you.
Well, I think we probably just get him at least one more because I'm going to subscribe to him. And then there's the Golden Gloves.
Oh, the Golden Gloves. Yeah. So as you do damage, there must be some kind of internal mechanic. They don't explain it super well, but basically, not just the amount of damage you do without getting hit return, but the mix of moves you do. So if you're constantly just doing a right hook, it's going to take forever to load up the Golden Gloves and get in the zone. But if you do a lot of combos, that's the word, combos, you'll actually get the Golden Gloves faster. And basically you just do a lot more damage and you're able to break through their blocks. In the characters where that's allowed. You can bust through their blocks and do significant damage. And especially once you get to the more difficult characters, you need to load up those gloves. Because your opportunities to do damage are few and far between, so when you do have to do it, you need to do as much as you can.
How did you find the tracking to be on the Move controllers?
For me, it was fine. I had no issues. So
I do have to say, when I started this game up, and I do the same thing every time I start a game. I always reset my PlayStation 4.
Okay.
Right, because if it goes into rest mode, sometimes it can really screw with your tracking. Keep that in mind, everybody. And I tell people this every day, and it's like, well, why you should tell people this more often? I was like, I say it all the time. So and
adjust your pupil distance,
and also do that. And people are gonna be like, what is he talking about? The pupil distance. So like in the so I reset my console. I started this game up, Move controllers, everything good to go. And here I am, like even in the main menu, like right away, like my right Move controller felt just a little floaty. Like the left one was perfect, and the right one felt off. You know, like it was rotating on the wrong axis or something. And I was like, this is strange. Weird. So just in case that happens to you guys, what I did was I turned them both off in game.
Okay.
Turned them both back on while the game in game, and when they both came back, they were absolutely perfect for my entire session. So just keep it in mind. It worked for me. I don't know if anyone else had an issue, but man, like for the rest of my 3 hours I spent with it, perfect. And we should mention that since launch there's been a ridiculous number of updates.
Yes.
If you look at the patch notes for this game, like the update history, it is like just pages and pages of, oh, we fixed this little thing, and we fixed that little thing, and we added this, and we added this, and it's just like it's too much to even mention. But it sounds like if anybody had a complaint, they investigated it, they fixed it, and they just nonstop patch this thing. It's patch 1.07, I believe, right now. And it is just pages and pages of little fixes here and there. But they did add a piece of DLC.
Yes.
For $2.99, you can get the Heavy Bag DLC, which is basically just one more training mode. It's just like the Speed Bag. It's just like the Focus Mitts. It's just like Reflex Alley, and it's fine, right? It's the Heavy Bag. And it says, when this symbol pops up, punch with your right, punch left. This is my left. Punch with your left. When this symbol pops up, punch with your right. If this symbol pops up, punch with your left first, and then with your right. If this and it's sort of just like here's.
Okay, like the boxing dummy in Creed, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And but for $3 more.
Yeah.
It seems a little strange, right? It's here is another little mini game.
Yeah.
That feels like it should have been included to begin with, but it came out 7 months after the game came out. It came out on September 27th. Ooh, my birthday.
Hey.
And the game came out February 23rd, and it took them 7 months to put out this little tiny. I mean, obviously they were doing all these all these patches and fixes and stuff.
Right.
And then they charged us $3 to add a training mini game.
Would you say it's worth it? Like, hey, I already have this. This is great. It's one of my favorite games. I don't know, like three. I
think
guess
this is going to go into our rating.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So should we rate this game?
Yeah, let's rate the game. Our rating system is still pretty easy to understand, I think. A 1 is, yes, you have to have this game. If you have a PlayStation VR, this is just one of the best in the library. Just trust us, buy it. 2 is, yeah, sure, it's fine. If you really like this genre particularly, or if it's on a decent sale, go ahead and pick it up. You're not going to, we're not going to make fun of you for buying it. And 3 is, no. Do not buy this game. Friends don't let friends buy junk, and we need to vote with our wallets and tell developers that we deserve better. So 1, 2, or 3. What do you think?
It's so funny when you go to the Grab Games website. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ventured over there.
I did.
But it's not a website that inspires a whole lot of confidence.
Well, it's not a website that says, "Hey, we made this game."
It's not a website that says, "Hey, we're gamers and we love games." It's a website that says, "Hey, our CEO is an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Hey, here's pictures of like our 4 biggest investors, the people on our board of trustees." Yeah. I'm like, this is like a very corporate website. Yeah. And they start talking about, oh, hey, we did this AR
and VR experiences for your,
here's some mobile games we made. Here's some 360 videos we made. Mm-hmm. And none of it feels like, hey, we're gamers and we care about gaming.
Yep.
It's a horrible website.
Yeah, but then you eventually drill down and say, oh yeah, Knockout. And then you go to it goes to a totally separate page for that, and you're like, oh yeah, they'd like fun. Turns out.
Yeah. So and I will say that when you start this game up, you're like, oh, these are gamers. Mm-hmm. Behind the scenes, like however their website look, as it turns out, the guys that Grab Games, or maybe the gals that get Grab Games, I'm not going to discriminate. They're obviously gamers, and they love making awesome, fun games. Mm-hmm. I have an issue with the price.
Okay.
I feel like for way too long, PlayStation VR got kind of like saddled into this. Our indie game or our not AAA game is going to be $30 instead of $20. I feel like $20 for a while has been an acceptable price for indie games. Yeah. We have a ton of amazing $20 games on PlayStation VR. Mm-hmm. Those sirens on our end. Sorry. And I just feel like the $10 surcharge on this. This feels like such a good $20 game. Yeah. And then on top of the $20, on top of the $30 that they're charging us, to be like, oh, and if you want like the full training experience, give just $3 more. I was like, it just, at that point, $3 is not a lot of money for anything. I spent $3 on this coffee 2 weeks ago. Right. So it's not
an exaggeration, folks.
But it's one of those things where it's just like it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to be like, this game feels like it should have been $20 to begin with, and then on top of that, they're charging an extra $3. I love Knockout League. Yeah. I think Knockout League is great exercise. I think it's great fun. I think it just looks and sounds and feels so good that it is a very strong 2, because it should have been $20 with free DLC. And I don't want that to sound too negative. I don't want to be like, well, for the difference of $13, Brian gave it a 2 instead of a 1. Yeah, that's what a 2 is. Yeah, a 2 is, it just isn't quite there for the value or the financial. It doesn't balance out financially for me. Mm-hmm. It's a great game, and if you really want to get some exercise, man, go spend the $33. You will absolutely love this game. But for me, somebody who's very price conscious, I'd say $20 for the entire package is more what we should be looking at here. It's a great game. Yeah, it's a very strong 2.
we've talked a lot about like polishing games lately. You know, we talked about Zing last week. It's like this is a game. It's like, oh, this has been around. You know, they worked on it for a very long time, but you know, it shows. And this is another one of those games, like what I said about Zing. Like you fire it up, it's like, oh, this is made by professionals. This is made by people who care about what they're presenting. And yes, it's goofy and cartoony, but it is spot on and beautiful looking. And yeah, it's made by people who care. All right, I've reviewed another game very poorly recently because you can tell it was made by people who don't care. And that's the kind of thing when I'm thinking.
It's just so bad.
It is, God.
It's just awful. Like I didn't even like capturing the footage for that game. I played it for an hour, and I hated my life because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyways,
sorry
I
to
was
put you through that.
I know. Now I'm just on this. Gaming sucks, but no, it doesn't because they're. Oh my God, that really hurt. Actually, Oh
you still hurting from Knockout League?
I really am. Well, I played the night before. I played an hour and a half of Beat Saber on Expert, and then to this.
Expert or Expert Plus?
Just Expert.
Yeah, I can't do Expert Plus.
No. So, anyways, to my point, you know, for me, like the rating scale, a lot is like, well, it's not just how much game I'm getting from my money. Is like, how much do I think these developers deserve that money? Yeah, honestly,
it's true.
You know, like for something like Zing, you know, I said, look, I kind of want to pay more, right?
Because I'm sure if you let them tell them that, they will accept your money.
But it does, it's so hard because I like this game so much. But you're not wrong. You know, $30 plus another $3. It seemed like a lot, but I don't know. I think I got that much value out of it.
There you go.
But I will have to say though, I'm gonna give it a 2. I'm gonna give it a 2 also.
Sounds like a very strong 2, like mine.
Yeah, a super strong 2. I mean, and let's be honest, there's gonna be people who are like, oh, you know what I don't want to do when I go home to play games? Work out.
Yeah, if you're not that person, then this game is not for you.
Yeah, there is no like sit back and have fun with this. You know, I read comments in I think it was like one of the Reddit threads about this. People like, oh, I just had surgery on my knees and I have to sit when I play. Can I play this game? No, you just can't. So keep that in mind. But yeah, this is a 2. But gosh, it's gonna be one of the strongest 2s I think I've ever given. Like for me, it's up there. It is on my mountain of best PSVR games. I like it better than Creed by a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it's just more fun.
I feel like for 2 boxing games, I can't even compare them because they just feel so very different.
They are super different, and Knockout League is different in the way that I like better.
Yeah, and Boxing Apocalypse is different in the way that nobody likes. That does it for another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Yes. Obviously, we want to hear your thoughts on, and I know what we're going to hear in the comments. Everyone loves this game. Knockout League is absolutely a success. It is an amazing game. But we do want to hear your thoughts on Knockout League. Do you think it's slightly overpriced? Did you get a lot of value out of it? Have you lost 40 pounds because you play it nonstop?
I can see that happening. I can totally see that happening. Yep.
Absolutely. Also, what other games do you want us to play? We're always willing to hear your suggestions, even though our list is like just ridiculously long at this point. That does it for another episode. I've already said that. Why We Love PlayStation VR. For another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR, I'm Brian Paul.
I'm Des.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.